guess I'll wait till I see somebody's on. I didn't really advertise this, so I'll be surprised if anybody joins. So I'll get started on the car. Okay, well, got the car in. Sorry this is late. I ran into an issue with my dog. Since my wife and I don't have any kids, our pets are like our kids. So the dog has been sick most of the day. Just basically, he wouldn't eat and wouldn't do stuff. And we finally got an appointment at a vet at like 5 something. So we just got back a little bit ago from doing that. So looks like he'll be okay. Just the vet thinks he's probably just got a bug in his stomach, and he wasn't eating. We haven't seen him go to the bathroom or anything, so it might be a bug. So we don't know. Maybe it's on the. He's just on the. Had the other. What was it? It started yesterday. Yeah, yesterday morning. Well, Monday night, yesterday morning, and so maybe he's the brunt of the sickness, and now he's getting over it and being kind of lethargic. But he's down here. He's sitting outside watching me to make sure I do what I'm supposed to do. So. Let's get started on the Focus. What do we got going on here? Okay, make sure I have that. I'll try to move the camera around, that way you guys can at least watch me work and do other stuff, and then I'll try to come up and make sure I read comments. I'll keep checking. But like I said in the description, oil change, tire. Well, I didn't say tire rotation, but need to do a tire rotation. She drives. Boy, 60, roughly, I think 60 miles round trip to work. And so she racks up miles pretty quick on this thing. I think it's about 60 miles, 30, 60, half, 45 minute drive. Yeah. So, I want to put some new headlights in it though. I got some LED headlights off Amazon, and I put them in the F-150, and they make, I think they make a big difference. So you see all the new cars running around with LED, might as well put them in this. But supposedly you can't get them at parts stores. What's going on, Dunbar? You can't get the LED lights at parts stores. You have to buy them on Amazon. I guess they're not completely legal yet, but new cars have extremely bright LED lights. So why can't we? Okay, I think I'm gonna go after the headlights first. These cars, you have to pull the front bumper and remove the headlight to change the bulb, which is the dumbest thing in the world. You'd think you'd be able to get in here, but the core support for the radiator and the mounting is all right there. So, can I do it? Yeah, it's right back here. I can see exactly where it's supposed to be. So. I've had this bumper off before when it was wrecked. So now I just need to figure it out again. May take the wheels off. I've got my tools scattered everywhere. I need to put them away. I used to be good. Whenever I worked in shops with, at the dealership and stuff, I was always good at putting my tools away. But now in my own personal shop, nobody else comes in here. I'm bad about just stacking tools up on top of my toolbox or on my cart. And then I spend more time searching for things. Go figure. Oh, these damn lug nuts. Wow, nobody's on here. Guess they had to leave. Kind of lonely. Think I might cry. Probably not. Well, we'll at least wait to get somebody else on here. I should have advertised this, but I just didn't know how the night was going to go. So I figured jump up here is better than nothing. So I was going to talk about, what was I going to talk about? I was going to talk about another thing while I was doing this, but I can't remember now. I don't know. I'll try to remember. Okay, got some push pins up here. I think that's got to come loose. And then I believe we got some bolts down the side and some trim pieces underneath. Oh, I was going to talk about, been working on a video that I keep telling you guys about that I'm excited about, that I think is probably going to be, well, one of the best ones I've made, I think. I feel like I'm putting that much effort into it, and I was working on it today, and I don't know what I want to do to fix this or take care of this problem, but the laptop I use for diagnostic on cars is the same one I use to edit on, and I think when I look at the memory on it, I'm using about half of it, which I know that I've talked to a lot of people, and when you start using that much or more, and you're really trying to run some pretty large programs like an editing program or some of the auto repair software that I use, it can be tough for the computer. Now, I don't save all my videos on my laptop. I actually have an external hard drive that I hook in, and I save all the videos to that because there was a point where I was saving all my videos on there, and I was actually filling up. I was getting close to using all my memory. So once I moved all the videos over, it took a ton of memory, saved files over to the external hard drive. But I've got a Panasonic Toughbook that still works, and I need to wipe it clean, basically refresh it, but I don't know if my editing software will work with the old, I think it's a Windows, is it Windows 10? I think that it's still running, and so it probably should. No problem, man. You're good. You didn't miss anything. No, I was just talking about video I'm working on. I was working on it today, and my laptop locked up. And I'm really trying to get this into editing this one video and get it out to everybody because I'm really excited about this one. But my laptop just randomly will lock up. I mean, it won't fix it. You know, sometimes if they freeze, you let them set for a little bit, they'll fix themselves. This one, I had to pull my batteries out to actually get it to shut down and then put the batteries back in, start up. So I'm on the edge. I used to edit originally we have a Mac desktop computer, and that has iMovie, and that was doing the same thing that my laptop was doing. I was saving so many files on it, it was getting slow. And even after I moved all my files onto an external hard drive, it still slowed down. It was still not going as strong, and I want to say it is pushing 10 years old, if not older. And so I'm sure that computer's not working that great. So I'm going to maybe do another laptop. I'm just hoping, I'm trying to speed up the process because that's one thing I run into is I go to edit my videos and I'm constantly waiting. I mean, I'll spend over an hour just getting my videos from my camera onto my laptop or onto the external hard drive through the computer. It just takes forever. And then you get going editing and it's freezing and locking up and doing all kinds of stuff. It's such a pain. So I'm working on it. I wish I could have released another video and we could talk about that today while I work also. But I'm trying. I really want, like I was saying before, I want to put out quality videos. So I want to be proud of what I do. I think my impact driver is about dead. This is just a cheap Craftsman I got for Christmas one year. This and a drill, and when you run it, you can smell the motor. So I've put it through some abuse. It's not a very heavy duty one, so I'm truthfully surprised it's lasted this long. those, and I'm sure there's something I'm missing here. Maybe not. Whoa. Jeez. Got too much junk in my shop. Ah, there is a 10. I knew it. There's a 10 millimeter in there, and I almost ripped the bumper off. Because some bumpers, just once you get some of the stuff out of the way, you just pop them off. This one's got a 10, I'm pretty sure. I may have to double check. I have seen an ABS lock up. What was it? And I just talked to one of the guys I worked with at Ford a few months ago, and he saw a truck that he'd go out and drive it. It's a fairly new truck, if I remember correctly. Go out and drive it, and the more you drove it, the more the brakes would lock up that left or right side. I can't remember. And I mean, it'd get so bad that it was hard to get the vehicle to move, and on slick concrete it'd just slide the tire. But then you let the truck sit for, I don't know, a couple hours to cool down, and it would go away. And they tried replacing the caliper and hose, and that didn't fix it on that side. So the next logical place would be the ABS module. So yeah, I've seen that. I mean, I wouldn't jump at that before I replace the caliper or the hose. Too bad you couldn't swap calipers from side to side, but then you wouldn't be able to bleed them. But then again, a caliper is probably a rebuilt caliper for some vehicles is probably around the same price as an ABS module. So I don't know. That's a tough one. I'd imagine so you could, say you have a rubber hose that's collapsing and is allowing pressure to go to the caliper but not return to the master cylinder. And the whole thing we used to do on that was you'd go out, drive it, get it going, get the one wheel that would drag. You'd try to get it up in the air quick, and then have somebody help you, where you'd continue to turn the wheel, but then you'd crack the bleeder loose or the banjo fitting. And if the wheel was then easy to spin, then it was most likely the hose acting as like the check valve. But the calipers, normally a caliper getting seized will just continue to do that. But you might do something like that, where if you can get it back in the shop and the wheel's hard to turn, and crack the banjo fitting at the caliper and see if it frees up. You could do that. That would at least eliminate the brake hose possibly. So calipers, new lines, all, yeah. Yeah, it sounds like ABS module. Yep. What do they call that? The HCU? because that's the hydraulic control unit side, and then you have the ABS module side. Usually, it just depends on the company. Some you can get the HCU, the hydraulic part, separate. Some companies you have to buy them together. Oh, this one comes off. Okay, it does not use 10 millimeters. It's just a pain to get off. Look at that, I glued that back on. Okay. Now, I need a stool. Uh-oh. Gonna lose a bumper. Usually I like that to be. Oh crap, I forgot this. Okay, the bumper is off. Now the headlights. Where'd that go? Let's get you a little closer. I'll try to pull a headlight and then change it in front of you. Nasty. That's a grease on there. Huh. I guess it's not the high beams. I might be able to fix that with a forescan. So on using a forescan, you can go in and turn on to where your high beams, on some vehicles, your high beams and your low beams are on at the same time. I better check these headlights, because I don't know if that's... tabs are always so tight. They hurt the fingers. There we are. Okay, just a plain old halogen, however you pronounce it. It's quite a bit of a upgrade. These are called, brands, Sea Light, I think it is. It's supposed to fit. Let's find out. That fits there. Get that off there. That fits there. We're getting somewhere. That's neat. Neato. There's a desiccant bag in there. Oh, whoa! Don't break anything. Well, to say, ever since this thing was in an accident, I felt like the headlights aim low, and I don't think there's any adjustment. But now that I put that back in, maybe there is. I'll look on the next one. Oh, there is. Adjustments here. You see one here and one right up here. So once I think I can get to that. Yeah, I should be able to get to that once I have it back in, and I'll aim them up a little bit. For aftermarket headlights, these things fit pretty nice. I I'm impressed. But these LEDs that don't need near the amount of amperage, I mean, that I know of. Maybe they do. Maybe it takes more than I really know. But if you remember, you can upgrade. Now you can upgrade with LEDs that are drastically better. But remember, if you remember years ago, those halogens and installing aftermarket halogens on a pair of regular, not halogen. Was it halogen? What were those? They had a ballast, and you always had the ballast always went bad, or the bulbs went bad. And on the factory cars, to replace a bulb, what were those? HIDs. No, they're HID, not halogen. HID headlights, and I remember bulbs could be anywhere from $100 to $300 for one bulb. And I remember getting cars in that had that, and you would go through testing, and you would test everything, but you really couldn't test the electrical side of the HID. You could test to the ballast, but you couldn't test the ballast. And so it was a cross up. And I think at the dealership, we used to keep a couple of them in stock just so we could put that bulb in, see if it fixed it. If it didn't, then it needed a ballast. And we usually sold a bulb at the same time. That way, that's all taken care of. And if something happens again, the customer, both things are covered just in case. Look, made in China. These are aftermarket headlights from whenever I got in a wreck. I think I ordered them off of Rock Auto. And yeah, I'm not really surprised. Be cool if it said made in USA. Would be cool if somebody started manufacturing like that, but will probably never happen again. Okay, I'm going to turn the lights on and check. And then I'm going to try to adjust also. Hopefully this doesn't blind you. That was a joke. Yeah, way brighter. This one, I think, may be brighter. The little shield that's supposed to go in front of the headlight broke off on this right one, so at least it's the right one and not the left where we're blinding people. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I can see on my wall where it's at, and I know the headlights need to go up a little higher, so I'm going to adjust this one up a hair and this one up. They almost look like they need to go out some, but these LEDs may make a big difference, so we may just go up first. I'm going to turn it one way and see what happens. I don't know what happened. I don't think anything's happening. one may be left to right. Yeah, this one's up and down. So loosening it is going down, tightening is going up. Better than it was. We'll roll with that. Only that really moves it. Moving both of those up a little bit, and then I can, now that I know I can adjust it after I have everything back together, then it's not that big of a deal. I can go drive it and see how it acts. Oh, cool. The low beams stay on when the high beams come on this one. Okay, time to go back on with the bumper. Do I need anything? I think we're good. Good Lord, that's bright. This piece isn't supposed to be broken like this, but it is what it is. Is what it is. Okay, put those push pins back. I don't think the headlights are going to show up. What's the dealio? So do any of you all keep up with UCC, that Ultimate Call Out Challenge? I've never been, and now that I've been to SEMA, the UCC, which is basically for like everything diesel, and I see what things are going on, but it's just, I don't quite understand it. As a fan of diesels, the black smoke and all the hoopla with everything just doesn't do it for me. The racing would be cool. Seeing what the guys could build on the dyno would be pretty cool. You know, what was it? Did somebody make 2,900 horsepower this year, which would be pretty cool. But I'd rather see that truck with 2,900 horsepower or something stay together. And well, I guess they did. I think now that I say that, I think, what is it? They have to drag racing, sled pull, and dyno testing, if I remember correctly. So anyway, you can tell how much I know about it. But I just, if I was, I wouldn't even do it. If I spent that much time on a truck and I was doing that, and to take a chance of blowing it up on the dyno, it's just, to me, it's not worth it in PR and how much those guys spend on those engines. I'd rather go home with a running engine, or one that's hurt, from, say, something happening, that we can at least shut down or catch it, than trying to push everything to it and blow them up, which we've all seen videos of those engines blowing up on the dyno there. I just got an update. Somebody responded back. I'm always in, what is it? The 6.0 Power Stroke classifieds. Or there's a 6.0 tuning, 6.0. There's a bunch of forums on, or groups on Facebook that I'm in, that I'm always, people are always asking for help. So I'm always chiming in. I think I need to make my own. I think that way we don't just do 6.0. Though I mean, I have a ton of information on those, but I could help in 6.4, 6.7, I mean, any general, and then other auto repair. If anybody's got any questions, I could help in that as well. But I would like to create a group and have some people help monetize it, or not monetize it, but what are they called? I forgot what they're called. Forum something. Moderators. Anyway, so basically make sure there's nobody in there doing any scams, or anybody that gets to be a pain, just kick them out, because nobody needs that kind of drama in their life. But yeah, I've thought about doing a Facebook group. I think that'd be kind of fun. That way I have my phone on me all the time through the day, and I can stop and I respond to customers like crazy on text messages and calls. So I'd love to be in contact with you all. If you had any questions, or you saw something funny, just post up anything there. That would be fun. I think that would be a good thing to do. anybody knows of any good deals on what's it called, oil burner heaters in Missouri, I'll travel. Actually, I'd probably travel to Arkansas, Kansas. I don't know if Illinois has them. They might be too. Anybody with there probably shouldn't say anything, or the communists will probably go after them. But any of the states surrounding Missouri, if you're relatively close, I'd probably for if it's a working heater that I could see work, or at least videos and then come tear down or something, I'd like an oil burner, because I acquire so much oil from changing oil and working on cars and everything, that I'm starting to hold on to it, because I'm looking for an oil burner to, even if I put it in here for a short period of time before I get the other shop built. But I want one that would do the other shop a 60 by 60. So as much oil as I get, I just think it would be dumb for me to give the oil away when I could use an oil burner and heat my shop. So, because there's times in this little shop, I run two wall mount heaters. I don't know if you guys have seen them in videos. I've got one down here. It's up on the wall. You can't see it, but then there's another one back in the corner here, basically diagonal from each other, and one blows this way and one blows this way, but they don't blow hard, and they put off decent heat. They keep it from freezing in here, but when it's really cold in here, I got to get a salamander and then kick up the heat. And once it gets up to at least 50s, those can kind of maintain while I'm in here. And I really don't, because it gets so cold in here in the wintertime, there's times that I just don't come down. But I'd like to change that where I could. And in the big shop, I'll have so much going on, I'll have to go in there and work. Just, that's the whole goal with the bigger shop. But I'd like to have the oil burner. I think it's probably not super environmental friendly, but you can still buy them brand new. And I'd imagine once you get them going, I'd imagine they burn pretty good, and it'd be pretty nice to have. What are we running? Oh, yeah. But have you seen the prices of those things? It's unreal. I think it's unreal. I think it's 10,000 plus. I remember I used to be able to see new ones for around the 5, but I think the EPA has put a stranglehold on that part of that industry, And so they have to probably do certain things and pay fees to be able to continue to sell them. Run some AMS oil. I think this thing takes 5.5 quarts. So I always get 6 quarts for it. It may just be 5. I could be wrong, but having an extra quart won't kill me. So I've always got something of mine that needs an extra quart. Yeah, very expensive. Sometimes you can find them used. The crazy thing is the used ones, people still want almost new price for them. I think it was on Marketplace the other day, I saw one that was for sale. But I can't remember how much I paid for it. I thought my phone had a full charge, but I don't know. I guess not. I need to plug it in. Plug it in, plug it in. Some of you might remember that. Crooked. I don't know if showing my license plate's a bad thing or a good thing. Or you know what I mean? Not a good thing, but if it's just bad. It is what it is, I guess. Keep hitting my head. This has been a good little car. We've liked it a lot. This is a 13 Ford Focus, and if you get an automatic transmission in these years, they suck. They have the DPS6, which is the electronically controlled manual transmission, and the clutches wear out extremely fast, usually around 20,000 miles. If you're doing better than that, I guess you just figured out how to drive one of those. But this is a manual transmission, and that's the only reason. My wife used to drive a 2004 Ford Focus, which then I took over driving. She wanted a newer one because she knew she was going to travel further for school, and then whenever she graduated. So we got her this one, and it had around 100,000 whenever we bought it. And the only way I would go with one of these was if it was manual. So it's been a great car. Other than the fact that she got rear-ended and pushed into another car and totaled it, and we bought it back and fixed it. Mechanically, this has been an extremely good car. And I've manual Focuses. I don't know what it is about them. I'd say they're probably one of the most reliable cars that Ford makes. If you can get a manual Focus, it's the way to go. We had a 13 Focus ST, loved it at 6 speed. Oh yeah. 4-door headlights were aimed too low. Yes, you're right. Yeah, and if you have kids or you need more room, the Show is definitely going to have more room. But those STs are a blast to drive. And the hatchback, this isn't a hatchback. This is just a sedan. And I'd love to have a hatchback. I don't know why, but I had a 96 Ford Escort wagon, and I love that thing. I loved driving it. It drove good. For a little car, it had decent power, and I could pile crap in the back. If I went and picked up parts somewhere, I had plenty of room. I actually probably kept too much junk in it, which I usually do. Yep, why you traded, needed more room. of dust. Oh, I've got to get new luggage. This car's got the 2-liter naturally aspirated in it. And driving this thing, it's peppy, gets, I think you can get about 36 miles a gallon on even 2-lane back road, paved back road. You can usually get 36 miles a gallon just the way you drive it. Out on the highway, you get about 36. In town, it's lower. I think I can usually average about 32. But this thing on the highway run about 65, 70 miles an hour. This thing runs at $3,000 and it redlines at 665. So you're running the engine pretty hard and still getting 36 miles a gallon. If you could bring those RPMs down, don't get me wrong, you hit a hill, you definitely have to downshift. The one nice thing is with this is you don't have to downshift, but I'd love to have a 6-speed in this. And I've thought about looking for some, but I don't know if they bolt right up. But then I've also thought how cool would it be to just surprise my wife sometime, where I said that I was doing some work on it and I got an ST engine and I dropped it in this. Would only get 28, really? Well, maybe I shouldn't do that. The EcoBoost have great power though. So it's funny they call it an EcoBoost and they don't get the greatest fuel economy. I mean, some can, but I think the Escape used to get pretty good. Now, did it get 28 miles an hour or mile per gallon? Was that the best you could get and you could never keep your foot out of it? Because those things are a blast to drive. Dropping my nuts. I'm still here. I'm just over to the side putting some lug nuts on, and I just realized I missed some of the where'd it go? Forgot 2 screws. The screws were loose. That probably would have made some noise, and then my wife would have let me know. Wow, that's surprising that it only got 28. I wonder if now the ST was tuned for good power and they would bring on boost relatively quick just because it was more of a performance oriented car. I would almost be interested to, was that a 2.0 or a 2? I think that was a 2.0. I'd like to, and I don't know if I can. I can only look at trucks and Mustangs. But if I pulled up the strategy and I got it on SCT, I could look in SCTs, I can look up base files, and I could compare, say, an Escape 2.0 EcoBoost to a Focus ST with the 2.0 EcoBoost, and I could compare those files to see what they did different. And I bet you we probably could have made a tune that was basically for highway driving, for, you know, just max mile per gallon, and we probably could have squeezed some more out of it, because a lot of times what they do on those is they, and my truck's the same way, all the EcoBoosts are really good. They make peak torque at low RPM, and so they bring that turbo on really fast. And so if you could create basically the boost system, the wastegates and everything would stay open longer, and then the engine would run in vacuum like a naturally aspirated. And then say if you at a certain point, at a certain load, I think it goes by load and RPM on the scale, and a lot of times a pedal, basically whatever pedal input you're giving it at a certain point, it would start bringing in boost. That way you could still, if you needed to pass somebody, you may have to put it to the floor to get it to do something, you know, or much higher in the pedal, 3/4 or more. But then, you know, quarter to half throttle or pedal, you would get better fuel economy. Or that's the hope. Road dust. It's nasty. I'm getting it all over me. I lost the lug nut. Okay, I still need to torque the wheels. I'm gonna put some oil in it first. Start it up, and then we'll probably call it a night, and I'll torque the wheels. If you get a 2.0 EcoBoost, get an early one, too many block. Yeah, that was the STs, we didn't see really that many issues with. The only one I saw an issue with was a kid that had a Cobb tuner on his, and he had a pops and bang tune. So every time he decel, it pop, 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 and it ended up causing a misfire on cylinder number 1. And come to find, whenever I disassembled, found the problem, and it had a melted piston down to the piston rings, and replaced the short block, reused the cylinder head, car ran fine. I don't remember seeing block issues on the 2.0 EcoBoost. Now the 1.6 and 1.5 had a ton of problems. I think the 2.0, I think you may be right, they occasionally had it. So if I remember correctly, the block issues they had is Ford went with a design, I think Honda had used it years prior. There may have been somebody else that used it too, but they had the open deck design. So you'd pull off the cylinder head, pull the head gasket off, and the cylinders had no webbing to any other cylinders or the cylinder block, and so they could shift. And so you'd get cylinder shift, and then a lot of times what would happen was then the head gasket, you could put a new head gasket on it, it'd leak again. There is a company called Cylinder Support System, or Cylinder Support. If I remember, I'll put it in the link in the description, but they make a girdle that you have to machine the block, and then this presses in, and then you deck it. If I understand correctly, I know basically it's a girdle on the top of the block. They make them for Hondas. I think they make them for the 3.5 EcoBoost, the 2.0. I don't know if they make them for any other, maybe the 2.3. But I know that I've been eyeing that for the 3.5 EcoBoost because I've got a extra 3.5 EcoBoost sitting in my barn that I'd love to build one of these days. And my goal is to make some decent power, to have fun in the truck or something. I don't know exactly. But they say that with their girdle system there on the block, that block now can support 1,000 horsepower, and that would be unreal. That'd break a lot of hearts if I had that in a Mustang around here. There's a lot of guys around here with 700 plus horsepower Mustangs, but if I was making some kind of power like that and they heard a V6, I like things like that. Ow. That didn't feel good. I think I found the dullest razor blade I have. Wouldn't even cut the film off the top of this. Some of these companies, you think they'd design a better jug. Can't remember if it's 4.5 or 5.5. For some reason I want to say it's 4.5. You can always add to it. want to lay down? Lay down. You're okay. You want to lay down? Lay down. Lay down. You lay down? Is it 5.7? That sounds right now that you say that. I mean, this may be the same thing. I think the oil capacity is probably about the same. Which you'd think a turbo car, you'd want at least a quart more. Yeah, I think it's 4.5. Looks right. I'll let it set a little bit and make sure, check. Or at least 6, yeah. I mean, that extra 3/10, that's 3/10, right? 8, 9, 10, yeah. That 3/10 of a quart probably won't make a huge difference. Let's see. All I got to do is torque the wheels down. Got those headlights in, so that wasn't a big deal. Thankfully, the car has been wrecked, so the bumper was easy to pull off. Got the oil change done. I got to put an oil change sticker in it and reset the oil light. Definitely always, if you're a technician, oil sticker, oil change light. And just think, put yourself in the customer's position. You leave, get your oil change done. They put a sticker in it, or they don't. And so you don't have anything to go off of. And then either they put a sticker in or not, and you get, 1,000 miles down the road on the oil change, and your oil change light comes on. That is a pain in the butt. I mean, how do you even know they change oil? I mean, I would hear that whenever I was at the dealership. People would come back in and go, my oil light or oil change message came on. Did you guys even change my oil? And truthfully, if I was working on it, I'd say 1 in 1,000 maybe I forgot. Maybe I didn't realize the car had one. And I have no problem going and talking to a customer. But boy, is that a way to lose trust in the customer. It's just little things. Little things make a difference. So, but it drives you nuts. Why can't they? They should be the ones that know how to reset the oil change minder. It drives me nuts. I did a job yesterday on a 2007 Tahoe, some brakes, and noticed it was 200 miles away from oil change. And I always try to mention stuff to customers. That way, it's one less thing. They don't need to then go to another shop. Basically, they come there, boom, they can get an oil change knocked out while they're doing, getting other work done. And when I was done, I was like, man, 2007 probably doesn't have an oil change reminder. But I went in and checked. Yeah, it had one. And it was down to like 30% or something. So it would have gone off in no time. So I reset it. Now they don't have to worry about it. But I also put a sticker in it as well. No schooling for it. So they claim that Ford didn't teach them how to do it. That's ridiculous. Because that's a blatant lie. Because a lot of times they would teach us in some of the training. I remember years ago, whenever that started becoming more popular, whenever we'd go to take online courses for them, or if it was a new enough model, they would send us I would go to St. Louis, Missouri. There's also some, I went to Kansas City actually sometimes as well. But the instructors would talk about that, and that would sometimes be on the test. So you would have to pay attention to it. Now, if it's got their quick lube kids, yeah, those kids don't get much training. It's sad. I have an idea of a shop, how I'd want. my goal is to get a shop going with employees, and then I'd want to bring on some guys that I trust, that I know do good work like me. We're like-minded. We're not, it's not all about getting the job done as quick as possible. It's about getting the job done, making sure it's correct for the customer so they don't have to worry about anything. And then you have extremely low comebacks. You fixed it right the first time, and it's fixed, and off the customer has to go, and you get a repeat customer. Not quick lube. That's ridiculous. So my idea is to bring on competent technicians that I trust, and I'd really like to bring them on as not employees, but business partners. Maybe they'll start out as an employee, and then after a year or so, me working with them, I trust them. I want to bring them on, and so as the business grows, they make more money too. But I want to do something to where then I would bring on new kids straight out of high school or while they're in high school and pay them minimum wage, and they are going to be basically, they are going to work with the experienced technicians, the ones that I know, myself, and the ones, business partners that will be able to train them and teach them. And then they could jump with, sometimes personalities don't click. So if one came in and he was with me for 6 months to a year and we didn't really mesh, but I could tell he was a good technician, but personality wise, and he went with somebody else and it worked. They could get an education. They wouldn't get a 2-year degree or anything, but they would get an education in automotive unlike any tech school. You get real world learning. And the cool thing is you can set up for, I forgot what price it is, you can send people to Ford training. And Ford has excellent training for their technicians, or from what I remember. I don't know if it's the same. I'd imagine they use a lot of the same classes, but that's my business idea. I'm sure somebody will steal it now, but I mean, it's not a huge moneymaker, but it would, good technicians creating good service for customers, creating good future technicians that then I wouldn't, if I was training them, paying them, and they were working for their wage, that's what they're going to do anyway, and they're going to actually get something out of it. If they don't stick around, they go somewhere else, so be it. But if they stick around and work for me, then we'd grow the shop even bigger. So that's my goal. We'll see if we get there. I feel like I haven't been meeting any of my goals in a long time, so we'll see what happens. So I think I'm going to end it here. I'm still working on a video. I'm working on several videos. I'm very sorry. That's why I want to start doing these live streams on Wednesdays. I know I was going to try to do 5:30s, but today with the pup not feeling good, I got a late start. But I'm going to, if I can't make it at 5:30, I'm going to do a live stream. I should have updated you guys. I apologize. Let you know that it was going to be later. But I want to start doing live streams where I'm working on something. That way you're not just watching me talk. And even though that is kind of what's going on, is me talking, you guys commenting and going back and forth and having a conversation, basically, that's a good thing. But you can only listen to me talk for so long, and I can ramble on, which I think I've done it for the past 10 minutes now. So I appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Later.